As was already told, my name is Torsten Rahn. I'm working for Basiscom, which is a silver sponsor of this conference and Qt consultant company. So we enjoy to create graphical user interfaces with Qt, and if you'd like to do the same, then it might be of interest to you that we have some job opportunities in Darmstadt and Nuremberg still. So today's topic is finding direction. Marble goes mobile. And for a start, I wanted to give a quick introduction to Marble for those who don't know Marble yet. Yeah. There still seem to be a few people who don't Marble yet. So let's go. So it's an application which is currently located in KDE Edu. It's kind of a free software version of Google Earth. That's at least like some people would describe it. It was not really created with that intention in mind. And you can basically, you have a virtual globe that you can rotate, that you can zoom into, look up places, like for example up here I could either choose some location directly, or I type in a location like Tampere. There's also a more detailed search there available, like I could we can switch maps, for example, to OpenStreetMap. Marble can also display OpenStreetMap. That didn't work so well. It works again. Okay, so you can type in, for example, our current location, and then it would look it up on the OpenStreetMap server, on the database there, and I can then just take that one, zoom in, and it would then move to the right place. A new feature that has been developed by Dennis Nienhuser for the next release of Marble, which is included with KDE 4.5, is online routing, which I'd also like to demonstrate. We could, for example, type in the current place here. And then a destination somewhere else, for example, hope you to find that. Yeah, and we can choose one of those results, either here or there. And I didn't check that one, and one here, for example, and then we can press get directions and it will show the route in between. And actually I want to take the way via Vanta, so it would then look like that. So you have some nice in-place editing, or we also then go via Turku to see Turku as well. And we get some instructions. They're here in German because I have the German locale. I didn't place it properly on some spot where a street is, so let's, oh yeah. Yeah, the internet connection is, yeah, I have got it still on wireless, so it might have. Yeah, okay, so seems the internet connection failed. Damn. Yeah. Okay. So that's basically how it works, and that's also how it works for a failure. Means failure of the internet, then you basically get nothing at the current point. You can also do other stuff, like for example changing projections. You can, for example, have a flat projection here. You can scroll around. Or you choose a different planet, for example. Or just the moon. On the moon. No, it's from here to the moon, and that doesn't work yet. But you can add it. Send a patch. Or we could go to Mars or back to Earth. Oh, and the cover, the cloud cover actually is the real-time cloud cover. So that, I guess, is a quick introduction to Marble, and that's where I wanted to just continue with the presentation. So, in terms of use cases for the user, Marble has three goals, three important goals. On one hand, learn and explore as part of the KDE educational package, so that, for example, pupils at school could use it for classroom learning, or if I read the news, I could look up places and learn something about the whole thing. Or I can look up places or look up friends and get map information, partially from the internet. It also has some support for Wikipedia lookup. And newly added was getting directions, so integration with routing and GPS. There's also GPS support integrated with Marble. And while that was Marble the application, actually that was already something else that was also Marble for developers at the same point, because Marble is not only an application but also a widget. So you can make use of the same functionality in your own application. If you create, for example, some contact application, then you could integrate a map with that application, and you could make use of Marble for that. And it's available on one hand as a widget. Then it's also available, for example, as a K-part in KDE applications, and also as a Qt Designer plugin. Down there you can see it used inside Qt Designer. And we also have some Qt Quick bindings created recently. That's something I'll show later. So for Marble, the library, the goal is basically to have a library with a Qt-styled API to provide a map. The widget is supposed to have different support for different projections. We also have the data structure internally modeled after Google Earth's file format and the OGC standard KML. That has several advantages. One of them being that we have some basic support for KML importing, and on the other hand, it has the advantage that we already have some fully documented class design available somewhere, namely in the OGC standard. And basically, our current goal is to rework Marble towards having a geographics view, kind of a QGraphics view that doesn't use pixel coordinates, but instead geodetic coordinates. That means latitude and longitude. And the whole thing uses some plugin architecture to, for example, display layers or to add the network or the GPS functionality. So you can choose from different implementations there. Marble is already being used inside Digicam. You can see it here, used in Digicam, where some photos are displayed in the spot where they were taken. Or here, there's the Chakra Live CD installer, which is making use of Marble to set the language and the time. And this was some curious example I was recently pointed to that is an application, a Windows application called GripView 2.0 from a company called there.com. They're focusing on weather planning, and they made use of the Marble widget. That's a pretty neat example. It's actually proprietary software, which is, well, also something we like to see in some way, although we support free software. But of course, it's made LGPL. Marble is licensed under the LGPL for the reason, namely that also people who want or have to create proprietary applications, that they can also make use of it. So the key facts are that the only requirement for the widget itself is Qt. You don't need any other dependencies. So if you just have Qt on any system, then you can make use of the Marble widget, and we also have some alternate. Yes?
Do you get OpenStreetMap support as well then?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Cool. Oh, no, cool. I thought there was an external library.
No. It's all built in. And then we have, and it's free software, LGPL as I said. We have support for OpenStreetMap and Wikipedia. It's modular and easily extensible, and we have a very active community of developers and users. Some of them are sitting in here, like Bastian, for example, and Bernard. Anybody else? No, I think that's all. Okay. So, yeah, and as I said, it's portable. Namely, we have packages for Linux. Then there's, for example, also packages for Solaris and Haiku. There's Mac OS X, there's Windows. And the new kid on the block, Migo. And we have MIMO 5 packages, experimental MIMO 5 packages. And you can see on the right, you can see a screenshot of Marble running on MIMO 5. Some platform that we had tried to get running was Symbian, but the problem there was that the CMake wasn't really playing well with us, so we still need to figure out how to get it run properly with CMake on Symbian. Yeah, but the focus now is to get it run on the Migo platform. Currently, we are working on improving the performance. The performance on MIMO is, well, it's usable, but we'd like to get it really fast. And that's something that I've been working on during the last few weeks. And on the other hand, user interface adjustments. You can spot some here already. Some are accomplished through the style that is used, and on the other hand, we have some mechanism, some profile mechanism that ensures that certain features, depending on which device Marble is running, would get switched off. So we, for example, switch off the configuration menu entry and other menu entries when Marble is used. That is kind of a workaround. It's not the ideal solution, but it's a start at least. And what we'd like to also accomplish is to change the UI through that mechanism so that it gets more task-based and more adjusted to the mobile form factor. And one solution, as I said, we have those profiles in place for the version that is shipped with KDE 4.5 already. We want to get Marble more centered around a single line edit, as you've seen in the earlier demonstration with the desktop version. You had to switch between different tabs, and that's something that we want to get rid of. So we want to get towards having just a simple single line edit there. And technically, there would be now different approaches in terms of integration with MeeGo. One, of course, the cheapest one would be to integrate it just using the Q style that would be shipped with it. That's actually something that I'm working on as a daytime job, developing plain Qt style for the MeeGo platform, so that normal Qt applications will look like MeeGo Touch applications on MeeGo. And then yesterday somebody started to work on a native version based on the MeeGo Touch library that we are developing, the MeeGo Touch library. And another approach would, of course, be to have Qt Quick Interface, an alternative. Qt Quick Interface, that's something where I'd like to show. Oops, damn, that's nasty. A video which shows, hopefully, come on. Yeah, that's something that Dennis Nienhuser had worked on to get Marble running with QML. There it is. Okay. So you can see that there's some search engine-like interface there. And the whole thing is just programmed using a few dozen lines of QML. This whole search engine-like interface, which also then makes those bubbles pop up. So that would be another solution to create a mobile interface for Marble. If you're curious about the QML stuff for Marble, then you can just check out the Gitorius or gitorius.org/Marble repository. That's not the official Marble repository yet, because currently officially we are still on SVN. But for Google Summer of Code, we used Gitorius.org already for Marble. So that's where the QML code is currently located. There are also 3 examples that you can try and check out. Routing is something that I had mentioned already. There's also some export route GPS functionality. And of course, the routing is important for the mobile version of Marble, because for a mobile version of Marble, it's not that interesting to have the educational part of Marble, in our opinion, but rather to look up, for example, where I want to go and how I get there. So that's an important feature for the Marble mobile version. We also have support for some decent printout of the results. The other stuff is something that I had mentioned already during the live presentation. And then another new feature in KDE 4.5 that I'd like to show is, as a screenshot, is the bulk download. That has been something that is of interest for OpenStreetMappers who want to, for example, download a big chunk of data in advance, or somebody who wants to go on a trip and doesn't have online connection and wants to download a whole area in advance. Because usually Marble just takes all the stuff, all the data from the internet, and with this tool, with this wizard, it's possible to just tell, okay, I want to download some particular data in advance. That's something that Jens Michael had been working on.
Is there a graphical tool for that also, or is it just to insert those coordinates?
Currently there are two ways. We know it's not optimal yet. We also plan to extend it, but the way currently is that you choose the region in Marble that you want to download. So for example, if you want to download all of Germany, then you just take Marble, zoom on Germany until it reaches basically the stuff that you want to download, and then you press visible region, which is the default, and it will then just try that one. There you don't have to fiddle with the coordinates then. Or the alternative way would be to specify the region. Ideally, we'd do that with a combo box or something where you could then choose, oh, I want to download Finland, or I want to download, Europe will become kind of expensive. We have a limit for OpenStreetMap to avoid that we put hard load onto their servers. So we have a limit of 100,000 tiles there, so that people don't say, okay, I want to download the Earth. Just for fun, during a coffee break. That would be kind of harmful. So that was another interesting.
Yeah, if you do that, does it? If you, for example, select Germany, does it select? Does it download tiles for all levels of zooming?
No, you can choose the zoom factor in the tile level range down there. Well, you have to know. It's an advanced feature. The whole thing is an advanced feature. That doesn't really tell you anything either. If I say, I download 4 gigabytes, then yeah. Yeah, well, that would be something that you'd then have in case when we introduce that combo box where you can choose between different countries or whatever. Then the pardon?
But maybe another choice you want here is if you do routing, then you know you're going to need the maps around that route. But you don't need all of Germany moving from one corner to the other. You don't need the areas where it's not.
Yeah, sure. Right. That would be the ideal thing, of course.
Torsten?
Yeah.
One moment, please. One moment.
Yeah.
If somebody asks a question, could you briefly repeat it for the sound system?
Pardon?
Could you briefly repeat the questions? Because we have got the
sure.
microphone.
So the question was whether we have plans to support the .osm vector format that the original data is provided with, and yes, we have actually started during the last Google Summer of Code some implementation where you can display a wireframe model of the OSM data in Marble. I'd like to continue with the presentation now. We leave the questions for the end. So another feature that is new in KDE 4.5 is quick and dirty WMS support. That's something that will probably only tell specialists something. That is basically a communication standard for servers. So there are some servers which are capable of delivering data using WMS. And here's an example where you can see such data, satellite data on top of Saxony. And another feature that was also, this feature was brought to you by Bernhard. And another feature that Jens Michael implemented was multiple tiles stacked and blended on top of each other. So you can now have multiple layers of data, of texture data, displayed on top of each other and blended on the fly so that it doesn't reduce performance. So it's still fairly quick if you even use several layers of this data. And you can blend this data using some blending types like used in Photoshop or GIMP. That way you can blend them on top of each other. And you can see that on the back screenshot a bit, there's a satellite data with OpenStreetMap on top, blended on top, and down there is OpenStreetMap with also satellite data. Then we have currently 3 Google Summer of code students, namely Gaurav Gupta, implementing bookmarks and annotations, and he got the bookmarks running already. So in the next Marble release after KDE 4.5, namely for KDE 4.6, you'll be able to bookmark locations on Marble and jump to them with a browser-style bookmark menu. Then Harshit Jain is working on time support for Marble. So far he has already moved the offline database that Marble is using to geonames.org. And then there is Siddharth Srivastava, who works on Marble to Go. That's basically a navigation mode. As I've showed, we have now routing working, online routing working on Marble. And he'll basically extend that so that you get an experience like in a navigational system where it would then follow your current position, would rotate the map and do whatever fancy stuff you'd usually expect from a navigational system. So that's what Siddharth is working on right now. Yeah, and then of course there are still lots of things that we'd like to improve, as I've said already. So we are basically for you to help us with software development, with translations, with editing maps, with doing web design for Marble, and with doing QA. And you can find us either on our mailing list, marbledevil at kde.org, or on IRC on the Marble channel, or on the KDE Edu channel, or just look at our website, edu.kde.org/marble. And I'd like to thank Barsyscom for the support. Yeah, that's all. Any questions? Oh yeah, and if you want to see the version of Marble running on MIMO, then you can get either to me or to Bastian. We can then show it to you on the device.
Torsten, the moving map support that the Summer of Code student is working on, is it just a moving and turning map as you go along with a GPS device coupled, or is it also doing like snapping to streets or snapping to the vector data?
No, currently it's just doing.
It's just
doing the small steps. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. The other things are probably some stuff that we won't get to.
Hello. For the large amount of data, could it be done through torrents?
For the
Yeah, so if I want to grab the data for the whole Earth, could we just get it to download a torrent? So maybe they could just be a threshold and then just say, rather than just not allowing it, you could just point them to a torrent instead.
Yeah, that's something that of course we could do. We could provide either a torrent or a tarball, but that would then, for OSM, I don't know how big that torrent would be. I guess that would be already in the range of terabytes, so for the full data. So you rather want to, it's not for the vector data. For the vector data, it would be quite manageable. That's just a few gigabytes from what I know. But pardon? Yeah, right, around that value. That's something I also recall. And but for the PixMap data, I guess it's probably a lot more. So, well, it's not really the way that we would normally provide to our target users the data. We don't expect users to, just fetch this torrent and afterwards you can make use of Marble. That's not the way we expect our users to work with Marble. We would just want to have Marble start. It just starts in a few seconds, 5 seconds or 2 seconds, depending on what you have, and then go. And then you're ready to go and don't need to do anything in advance.
Sure, but this has 20 gig of memory, and when I want to actually use the GPS, I don't,
could be a way.
One last question up there. Afterwards, there is the lunch break. For that, you have to go up 2 floors up. It was just told to me, so that you know.
Excuse me, I would like to ask, now we have possibility to get quite cheap geographic information on images, so rectified images. And there are some cities even that are doing this and they would like to deploy the information. So is possible or is an idea for Marble to receive data from other users and help them with some tools to put these informations, better pictures already rectified over the satellite data?
If I understood that correctly, so you want to put other data, other custom data on top of our data, yes. And you're asking whether this is possible. You mean technically?
It's possible, but there is a tool to make it easy, because I have the data, it's correct. I have the data and it's correct,
yeah.
But the point is maybe the user that want to put the data in that municipality is not so skilled, is not a technician. So he want to put the data and maybe he want to fit it well. But let's say as they could do somehow with Google Earth. But
yes. There is
the first question, the second, then I link another question. If someone could do it, how can he distribute the information? Even if he put it on his server, there is a way to distribute a list of new data, accessory data, through Marble.
Okay. Yes, this is possible. There is a way to basically import data into Marble and make it show up, so you can create your own custom maps. Currently, it still requires to edit some XML files. That's something that we'd also like to change in the future. We'd like to create a wizard where you can then point to some bitmap or create some tools where you can then integrate your own custom data with Marble. There are also some existing tools for creating tiles in OpenStreetMap format, which you could also use already. That should also work together with Marble. We'll explain this in a more detailed way on Tuesday. On Tuesday, we'll have a workshop, a programming workshop on Marble, where we also intend to explain how you can, on one hand, integrate your own custom data into Marble, and on the other hand, we'd like to show how to use that geographics view and the GeoPainter that is used in the Marble library, so that you can create your own plugins, your own layers, and display some stuff on top.
Torsten, thanks for guiding us through the world again. It's really amazing to see how Marble improves over time. I think it's the 3rd presentation I see on Marble, and it's really improving.
5 years old, something like that.
Yeah. Please, I think it's the 3rd presentation I see on Marble, and it's really improving.
5 years old, something like that.
Yeah. Please give a hand, final hand.